Am I the only one that lays awake at night, wondering if I'm going to be killed by something that's dead? You worry about that too, right? So, have you guessed what it is? Here's a blatant hint. If a tree falls in the forest and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? I know you've heard this one before, right? We're talking about trees, and not just trees, but dead trees. It's no joking matter. If that thing came down, it could kill someone. And I'm just hoping it's not me. We've all had to park next to a tree and camp. I mean, it's nothing unusual. I don't know what I was thinking. Look at this right over here. That's a dead tree, and it definitely could come down and hit me. This was a great campsite, but the only thing I had any concerns about are those two dead trees right there. I'm not going to walk all over there, but I think you can see those trees have fallen over. And what's happened is they were on the bank on the right, and they have fallen over. So to me, that's an indication that the same thing could happen along this bank right here where I'm thinking about camping. If you've ever heard that sound while hiking in the forest, you know exactly what it is. A massive tree coming down. It's a heart-stopping moment that stays with you. As an avid overlander and a longtime camper, I've found myself in this exact situation dozens of times. You find what looks like the perfect campsite. Everything feels right. The view is awesome. You've got a flat place to park or set up a tent, and perhaps there's even some wind protection. But then you spot it, a towering dead tree, standing like a silent sentinel nearby, and you get that sinking feeling. So what should you do? Maybe you try to tell yourself that this dead tree has been standing there for years, so surely it won't fall tonight, right? Or maybe you try to guess if it would reach your tent if it did fall. Or perhaps you try to convince yourself that it's going to fall in some other direction. But here's the good news. You don't have to guess. With just a few simple techniques, you can know for certain you're at a safe distance. Let me show you a few simple methods that could save your life. First, how to estimate any tree's height, whether it's alive or dead. 2, how to determine how far you need to be from that tree. 3, how to make an informed decision about your campsite. And basically, it's pretty easy. You measure the shadow of the tree, and then you measure the length of the shadow of a known object. Well, not surprisingly, this is called the shadow method, and here's how it works. If you have enough sunlight to see your shadow and the shadow of the tree, you can easily calculate the tree's height using a simple formula. Let's say that you're 6 feet 2 inches tall. First, we need to convert that into feet. Since there are 12 inches in a foot, we divide 2 inches by 12, which gives us 0.167. Rounding that number off, we get 0.2. So we'll take that and add it to the 6 feet. Your height is 6.2 feet. You'll notice that there are no inches in that, it's just feet. So for this example, let's say that my shadow is 8 feet long. And let's say that the tree shadow measures in at 15 feet and 8 inches. Converting that to feet, just as we did a moment ago, we find that that's 15.7 feet. Now, we can use these 3 measurements in the simple formula to determine how tall the tree is. And here's a simplified formula. The tree height is equal to your height multiplied by the tree shadow, and then take that result and divide it by your shadow. So plugging in your height and how long the two shadows are, we calculate that the tree is 12.2 feet tall. So that's the shadow method. Unfortunately, it's an overcast day and it's cloudy. So I'm not really getting any shadow here. I can see my shadow, my personal shadow, but I can't see the shadow of the tree. So that one's out. Okay, this says H is 66 feet. So H, 66 feet, D, 57 feet. That was a quick and easy way to measure that tree, and I now know that it's 66 feet tall. We talked about two straightforward methods to measure a tree's height, but there's a whole forest of techniques out there, pun intended. A quick search on the internet will turn up several apps for your smartphone, as well as other traditional methods like using your thumb or a straight stick. My personal favorite, however, is to use a drone. I also love the shadow ratio method that I showed. After all, it uses the same principle that ancient Egyptians used to build the pyramids. Determining a safe distance from a dead tree is critical for your camp safety. And I've got two practical methods for you. First, grab that tape measure you should already have in your camping kit. It's not just for measuring your tent footprint or Bigfoot's prints. Simply measure from the base of the tree along the ground. A safe distance is at least 1.5 times the tree's height. So, for a 50-foot tree, you should be at least 75 feet away. This 1.5 times multiplier accounts for the tree's potential fall radius, plus an extra space for branches and flying debris that could extend beyond the trunk's length when it falls. Well, I brought a tape measure, but where is it? I mean, you'd think in a truck this size you'd be able to find anything, right? But sometimes I search for a long time trying to find things. It's ridiculous. Don't have a tape measure? No problem. Most adults have a natural stride of about 2.5 feet. For that 50-foot tree, you would walk about 30 paces away. However, a smart move is to calibrate your pace length before your trip by measuring out 100 feet, pacing it off, and then dividing by the number of steps that it took. Remember though, these distances are minimums. If you're camping in an area with dead trees, gusting winds, heavy rains, you'll want to add even more of a buffer zone to your calculations. But what if you decide to set up camp near a standing dead tree? Well, if possible, let nature work in your favor. Position your camp so that there are strong, healthy trees standing as a barrier between you and that potential threat. Yeah, I've parked next to dead trees before and camped. Some of the things that I take into consideration is the shape of the tree. In other words, the condition. I mean, does it really look like it's rotting, or does it look pretty firm? How long has it been dead? Is there any leaf or pine needle still on it? The longer it's been dead, it'll be stripped of all of that. Of course, the prevailing wind is a big factor too. I don't want the wind pushing it in my direction. And just how big is that tree? A small one? I may not worry as much about it as a large one. Whether you're using a high-tech drone or an ancient Egyptian method, the key is staying a safe distance away. So let me ask you this. Do you ever worry about standing trees? How do you make sure that you're far enough away from them to be safe? And do you have a favorite method for estimating the height of a tree? Let me know in the comments below. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more overlanding and camping tips. Nature deserves our respect, and sometimes that respect means giving trees plenty of space to do their thing. Stay safe out there. I hope our trails cross soon.